restart its search for police chief. Plus,
if they're building, they've still got to go through that lengthy process of, what's right and what isn't, and all the codes that are required.
The hurdles Marshall Fire victims are running into as they try to rebuild.
Everybody started ambitiously in the spring and said, I'm going to do this. And what they've realized is it's a tremendous amount of work.
and on the injured list, Russell Wilson is saying a sore shoulder will not keep him from playing against the Colts tomorrow in prime time.
We got to go get it.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Also gearing up for ski season. We're just days away from the lifts starting up at some of Colorado's ski resorts. We've seen some snow making out there. I know it doesn't feel like
I'm excited
we're
for it to
there
look like
already.
that.
I mean,
Lisa made a bold prediction yesterday. I overheard you say you think it's going to
on the
snow
spot.
on
October 22nd. I picked that date about a month ago.
Yeah.
I mean, has no scientific backing. It's just my guess.
Okay, I was going to ask if you knew something we didn't.
Even though I've
still
seen
in the
some
running.
talk.
That's for Metro.
By Friday, Saturday next week.
I'm still sticking with the 22nd.
Friday,
Okay.
Saturday
I'm
next
sticking
week.
with
There
it.
might
All
be a little bit here.
yeah. But
I would like to see it sooner
It's got to
than
be
last
measurable,
year.
though.
Yeah.
It's got to be measurable.
At DIA or downtown?
in your backyard.
Yeah, well, yeah.
In Jason's backyard.
In
We'll
Vail.
get to the details later. But hey, speaking of mountain snow, take a look at this shot from Vail. Still really pretty right now. Past the peak there, right along I-70, but if you get farther south, you're going to see some peaking colors here this weekend. So we're still talking aspen leaves right now versus snow. Temperature-wise, in the mountains, it has definitely been cold enough in the overnight hours where we've dropped down into the 20s, and so they are able to start make more of that snow up at the ski resorts. You can see here on satellite radar some of the lingering rain down south of the Springs, close to Trinidad. Your exercise forecast today looks pretty good, though, getting out the door to 40s and 50s, close to about 62 here by noon. And then we'll hit highs in the upper 60s near 70 this afternoon. Nice day today, very fall-like, very comfortable, close to normal. We're typically at right around 70 here in town, so that's where we will sit both today and tomorrow. Tomorrow's actually going to be a touch warmer. Low 70s for the Broncos game. We'll have that full forecast coming up.
And right now we have still some trouble spots, including along the W line, the west line out to Golden and Denver. This is a power outage affecting all trains. Just got another update from RTD saying they're not sure when the power is going to be restored to the train lines. It's not a widespread power outage by XL by any means, but they're using a bus shuttle in place, and they do also suggest you use a 16 bus out along West Colfax. Two separate crashes up to the north. One is going to be here at Erie Parkway. The other one by Prospect, that southbound side, I guess basically between Prospect and Harmonies where that crash is. So we're not backed up all the way to Mulberry by any means yet. Basically from Prospect on down is going to cost you some time. Take a look at the camera back here by Erie Parkway in Dacono and still seeing that slowdown heading on down to Erie Parkway. The rest of the drive looks pretty standard on the freeways. You can see that about a half an hour up to Boulder from I-25. Still looking at some slow and go traffic here to the east side of town. Looks like that crash is pretty much cleared up coming off of 6th Avenue to head south I-25, but a couple extra minutes there for you as well.
Well, this morning the search is starting over for Aurora's police chief. The city has decided it will not move forward with the two candidates selected through a national search.
Frustrations boiled over when two white men were announced as the finalists.
Questions that would have been asked by the Police Oversight Committee could have weeded them out a long time ago so that we did not waste our time and taxpayer dollars on this search once again.
Yeah, Denver 7's Veronica Acosta is live from police headquarters this morning. Activists say there needs to be more input from the community here, bottom line.
That's exactly it. And now the community is actually going to get that opportunity. Just days ago, we heard from Aurora's Police Oversight Task Force. They said they wanted in on that search process, and now they're going to have the chance to have at least some sort of say. You mentioned those two finalists who were white men. Just yesterday, we learned one of them ended up dropping out of the search process here. And we know there were certain conversations happening with both city and community leaders, city staff now saying, you know what, we're going to start the search process all over again. And for days now, we've told you about the controversy that surrounded this search. People here in Aurora, they want someone to hold the top cop job that really represents and reflects the people who live here in Aurora. We spoke to someone over at the NAACP who told us now this really is all about involving the community in the process.
It's not a partisan issue. We're talking about an American issue.
we're talking about a community issue. So it should not even be a fight, that the community is involved in the conversation.
And for a little bit of context, a city spokesperson told us there were 21 people who applied for the chief job within a 2-month span. He said 7 of those people were either women or people of color.
And Veronica, thousands of dollars spent here on their national search using a consultant or recruiting company you would think would know the criteria going in. Do we know if Aurora plans to use this same company this time?
That's exactly what you would think, what you would hope, but that's one of the big questions this morning is, 1, Aurora going to go with this recruitment agency again? And then 2, are they looking at that initial pool of candidates, those 21 people? Are they saying, you know what, we're just going to start all over from a fresh batch of people?
Do I need to move? All right, thank you, Veronica. Since the Marshall Fire in Boulder County damaged and destroyed more than 1,000 homes in January, it has been a slow process to rebuild.
Only about 10% of the homeowners who lost their homes have rebuilding permits right now. Denver 7's Christian Lopez caught up with one of the first families to get one to see how they're progressing.
And as we pulled out the driveway, the fire was right there. We took one last picture of the house and drove away.
You may remember Pam and Dan Decker, the first couple in unincorporated Boulder County who got a permit to rebuild their home back in May.
Just tears of joy. Before, they were just tears of sorrow.
Fast forward to now.
We are standing in the kitchen right now.
Yeah, and then you go back into bedrooms.
All the framing is just brand new within the last couple weeks. So it's been very, very exciting to see it.
To be able to be this far along.
The new house will look very similar to the one they lost during the Marshall Fire. This time, though, they are adding things like fire sprinklers, concrete siding, and replacing the wood decks with a concrete patio to make sure that their house is protected in case of another fire.
For the Deckers, choosing to rebuild was an easy decision.
It's where our kids have been, our 3 children have been, the grandchildren. It's just always been home, and it has so many memories that we can't leave it. This is what we know as home.
But it hasn't been easy for their neighbors. Only 13 other rebuilding permits have been issued in unincorporated Boulder County, 50 in Louisville, and 42 in Superior.
Everybody started ambitiously in the spring and said, I'm going to do this. And what they've realized is it's a tremendous amount of work in terms of finding an architect, finding a general contractor, picking out finishes, picking out everything that goes back into a house.
Some have decided to leave and just to sell. Others are in the process. If they're building, they've still got to go through that lengthy process of, what's right, what isn't, and all the codes that are required.
I think the reason we've been pushing so hard for rebates on use taxes and cutting the fees on permits and removing these more expensive codes is that we know people are looking at an insurance cap, but we really want the original homeowners to come back.
The Deckers are hopeful they'll be back home early next year.
So yeah, very exciting.
In Boulder County, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Oh, the Denver Broncos take on the Indianapolis Colts tomorrow night at Empower Field. The game is right here on Denver 7, but the list of injured players is growing.
Yeah, who's going to take the field? The team's a little banged up right now. 12 players are on the injured list. 2 more on injured reserve, which means they're out for the season. One is running back Javonte Williams. Quarterback Russell Wilson is currently on the injured list with a sore right shoulder. That is his throwing arm, but he says he's definitely playing tomorrow night because he wants to win.
There's a lot of teams that are 2-2. There's a lot of teams, there's a handful of teams that are 3-1, and we're right in striking distance. We got them right where we want them, so we got to go get it.
Yeah, during Sunday night's game against the Raiders, Javonte Williams and outside linebacker Randy Gregory both suffered knee injuries. Williams had been one of Russell Wilson's favorite go-to guys for the first 3 games. So a big loss.
Somebody's got to step up here. You can watch the Broncos-Colts primetime game over on Denver 7 tomorrow night. Pre-game coverage starts at 5. Kickoff is just after 6 p.m. and the big post-game show will be right after. The game also means a programming change for your favorite ABC shows. You can watch the Thursday night premieres of Station 19, Grey's Anatomy, and Alaska Daily here on Local 3 starting at 7 p.m. Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
How many seasons for them now?
Oh,
50?
I know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know.
That's incredible.
Lisa, game time weather is going to be pretty nice.
You know, in the middle of a blizzard, you could blame the weather. You know, if something was to happen
sure.
during the
Right,
game.
not
Perfect.
tomorrow night though,
Nope.
huh?
Listen
Yeah,
here,
too perfect.
Russ and team. You've got perfect weather for tomorrow night. Now we're expecting temps to be at about 68, near 70 degrees right before kickoff. We'll drop into the upper 50s, near 60 by 9. So actually extremely comfortable if you're running up and down that field. If you're sitting in the stands, you might want an extra layer, you guys. It's going to get a little chilly after sunset.
Also coming up after the break, the Bears are out and about. See that one in the tree right there, just hanging around? The metro neighborhood where this big guy was found as animals forage for food and pack up for winter.
And President Biden is getting ready to travel to Florida today to survey the damage from Ian. We'll take a look at the latest recovery efforts.